Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So in this video, we're going to be looking at demand and supply. And before we look at demand and supply, this is where we ended last week. I'll just go through it in under a minute. Last week was not an amazing week for us in the community because this week started on bullish and we kept trying to change the trend, which was a mistake, but the market just kept riding until when we got a profitable setup right here. We bought the market at this pullback and at this touch of the trend line. Then the market just delivered to us back to this order book up here. And it's the reason why we're going to be looking at the demand and supply today. Sorry. So at this breakout too on Friday yesterday, I had an amazing shot that is still in profit currently because of this trend line break. The trend line break already shows that the trend has changed, and I shot at this market from up here direct to the downside, and it's still moving. I still expect it to continue to the downside, so I'll just wait for the action here and see how Monday moves, and then on Tuesday I'll have a nice setup, But before that, let me show you people our community. Just a minute. So this is our trading community. This is our trading community, and this is where we share most of the things we do. You can see I already share some setups that I take. I share them with the whole community, and you can see if you scroll through, you can see the number of, like, for example, the setup that I was talking about on it's right here. Shared the setup, then the way it went. I shared it right before it happened, and there are other setups that we do share. And you can see this one hit stop loss, transparency. This one hit take profit. You can see how it started and how it went. And then also this one hit take profit. You can see how it started and how it went. So this is how we move. This one also hit take profit. This one, I think it does this. This was BTC. I didn't share the profit, but I hit profit. And also this was GEO. I lost this trade, but everything is transparent. Everything is transparent. You can as well check for the link in the description and see for yourself. So we share almost all these setups with everyone else. You can see this one also hit take profit. So that's it. So just go to the link in the description and it will take you to this page or the public platform where there are around 500 people. And you can as well share your setup and let's trade together, Let's trade together. So let's go back to what brought us here today. And I want to break it down to bring it down to demand and supply, We're going to look at demand and supply and how I get my demand zone. So let me go ahead and get a clear chart. Of course, I'll be using GBPUSD. So demand, I won't go deep into the economics of how demand and supply works, but by now I understand. I think you guys have been in the private group for long. We all know we first go through the economics of it, how demand and supply is made up, how it's brought into the market, how it's introduced. Then we go straight into the strategy. It's what we like to always do, because it doesn't just give you that perspective of candlesticks. No, you learn how economics work, and candlesticks are just a representation of what really happens in the market. So if you're able to tell what is behind the candlesticks, at times you find yourself with a very good edge. So going on, I want to show you guys how I'm going to just show a snippet of how I find demand and supply zones, and if it works for you, well and good. If it doesn't, there are other strategies, but it's one thing that I have to tell you: don't always change the strategy. Yeah, don't always change it. So the way I do demand and supply, we're going to start demand, and I'll get an open space and I'll show you how I get my points. So I want to get demand zones in a buying trend. I don't just get them in a ranging trend. No, I don't do that. I want to get my points in a trend so that I don't have a clouded judgment and I want to flow with the trend. So if the trend is moving upward, as you all know, trending markets are they don't happen a lot of the time. They only happen 30% of the market life cycle, and the other 70% is always in a range. So if the market is moving like this, I want to find points of entry for us to act as demand zones. So I'll always look out for such points, and this is where if I find a demand zone here or somewhere here, or somewhere here, depends, guys. These markets don't move in a straight line, so I've left out the middle trends of the market, but I hope I explain and you guys understand it. So I always like to take buying opportunities from such points, adding on other conferences like trend lines and so many others. So I don't want to go against the trend by buying to sell. For example, if the trend is going up, I don't want to start shorting it because that gives me a local volatility setup. Of course, sometimes I short them, but on different accounts, on different accounts. So that my mind has to be in line with where the trend is going, because there's a reason why that market is being driven in that specific direction. So if you're trying to go against it to your retail, it doesn't really make sense, It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really make sense. So I'll just go to the chart. I don't want this video to be so long, and I'm going to show you how I get demand and supply zones. Okay, let me just show you how I do for supply zones. It's just the inverse of the other. If the trend is moving to the downside, I want to get points where that trend is likely to reverse and continue with its maiden. So looking at this, I'll just be looking at points like this, and most times if I have a point like this, and this one, let me say left one huge supply zone. Supply zones are always found up above. And I'll just give you guys one strategy for today. The other strategies I use for trading them, but I'll just give you one for today. So this is what I want to get. I want to get those points. This can be supply zones, supply zones, supply zones, Then the demand zones are always found at the bottom. I'm going to show you what exactly I mean. So when you come to your chart, you want to identify an area. For example, if this trend was moving upward, and let's use the 1 hour time frame. If this trend was moving to the upside, I want to identify momentum candles. So for example, you can see how here I see momentum candles. By momentum, I mean some huge movement to a specific direction. That is institutional for me, So what I do, the first thing is identify momentum. Then I identify the last candle in that direction. And I want to line it with the trend. So for example, if there is momentum here, 1, 2, most times I consider 3 candles, but I can as well always go back. So if I get like this huge momentum, I mark out the last candle that began that momentum like this. See? Now I take this as I mark the highest and the lowest point to the rectangle, and I go with it. So I'm going to identify the market hasn't come back yet, but I'll show you an example where the market has come back. There is this point. Now there is this one that happened late. You see it? And I'll draw that too. Now you get, if the market is going up, you get the last bearish candle to form before that momentum kicked in. So for now, all I'll do is if the market comes back here, remember I don't trade it in isolation. I'll be looking for other conferences to buy that market to the upside. But if it comes directly down to the bottom here, I'll look for other reasons to buy, not only demand and supply, There are things that I consider. Now let's look at this example where the market went and came back, and shall go down to the 15-minute time frame, and you can see, if I come back here, you can see I marked out this point here. And so I marked out this point. You see the last bearish candle? See the last bearish candle, which is this? Marked out the highest and lowest point. So when the market went, it came back to this point. And that's the reason why we had the buy return from showing you last week, which I sent to the community. Then the market came back, touched that, found some momentum. This was a demand zone and it went. Now, of course, when you're drawing out in the trend, you're supposed to draw those supply zones to act as your resistance or your take profit zones. But for now, that example does service. And if you move on, we can as well move on to other points. Now, you see there is momentum here. This huge candle is huge momentum. So I take this point and I mark out this area like this. And when the market comes back here, you can see it came back, touched that point and went. That's exactly, I just look for momentum. That's what I consider while finding those points. For example, here there's some momentum. Of course, in the 15-minute time frame, it's going to be huge candles, but you can see exactly what I'm trying to explain to you. Look at this huge momentum here. Mark out that point there and go with it. Now, when the market came back, touched there and went, you can see how the trend, and you add on some other things like trend lines like this. And if you get to another point, now this one came into the area, but we have engulfings that confirm that, I'm not going to go deep into the strategy. So we add trend lines onto the confluences that we use to trade, we add our trend lines into them. So the first thing that you always have to consider is the momentum. Find the momentum here. Find the momentum. This was the last candle, then the momentum turning. Market comes back short. Now, this is intra trading, but the people get them on bigger time frames, and they hold a significant value. They hold a very big significant value. So moving on. Let me see on this screen. I want to see if I have them. Okay, we can just continue with this. Always find momentum and go with the trend. Find momentum, go with the trend. Find momentum, you can see here downward trend. Find the last candle here. Go with the trend. You can see when the market came back, it played around and boom. Now I'm just showing you how it works, I've not analyzed, check the trend and stuff like that, but always consider the trend the market is moving in, because you'll find entry zones that hold value, that have a significant value, You find markets that hold significant values. Now, if you move on, this order block here didn't start from here. It came from way back. This supply zone came from way back, but I'll make another video when I'm doing for that. But I think on the videos that we have posted so far, you already see me find those zones. Even though I don't explain it that okay, I found my zone, but I always find those zones within that video. Now look at this momentum here. Take this point. See how the market just came and bounced and went up, They're easy to get as long as you have another strategy that adds confluences to your trade. Add confluence, look at this momentum. Now this one, you just push it further, and it's the reason why the market is holding all this while, I remember this trade very well. We took it in the limit and it was stopped out mark here and went. So that's exactly how you find demand and supply zones. That's how I find them. I look for momentum like this, then I go with it to the future. Let's see how this one played. Okay, this one didn't play that much. Let me see how many pips. How many pips? This is a small trade. Oh, 1 to 2. 26, 10 pips, 1 to 2. But this is not a good trade. But that's exactly how they work. That's exactly how they work. You know, find your trend, mark out. Let's try on now. Let's try on a bigger time frame. One more time, then the more range. Let's try on a 4 time frame. We're going to find a trend, zoom out. Okay, let's find a point where the market came back. Let's look out for momentum first. Look out for momentum. This one, the market hasn't come back yet. Now, this is a bigger time frame. You have to know that just see 3 momentum candles can give you a good point. Like here, it's one of the points, you know. Let's scroll through. We're looking for demand zones. Okay, now the trend has changed from here. Yes, they're there, but I just want a profit one, you know. I just want a profit one, which will make nice. There are smaller ones in here, I can see them, but I wanted to get you guys a profit one. In line with the trend, like this small one here. You know, you can see how it felt here. That's a small one. This is another time frame. Holds a significant role here. Very significant role. So supposed to be careful with those zones. So it's one of the reasons why we trade them is they hold well, like if you profit it and add it with the other reasons that you use for trading. Add it raw. It makes a lot of sense. So that brings us to the end of this video, but before I go on to remind you, get an account with sure leverage. Let me show you guys my account. Get an account with sure leverage. Let me just show you my account. So there is an account that I tried out for you guys, 10K account, and it really makes sense. You can see, I don't know if you can see, but I don't know how am I going to do it. But I got a 10K account for you guys, and I passed phase 1 and phase 2. Can't zoom in well, but exactly, that's the 10K account with sure leverage, and it's an amazing. They don't have hidden rules apart from the profit consistency, which you can easily, the system shows you. Then as you trade, shows you. Then they have lot size consistency, but there they give you a specified. There's a way you calculate it, you know, and their payouts are good. And they also have MT4 and MT5. Only that I went for this one. But they have an account with MT5, so you can check as well for the link in the description. Currently the market is closed, but yeah, they're really good. They're good platform. So thank you guys for watching this video to the end. Like, subscribe, and of course share. Have a great day and an amazing week.